week. All right, team. I don't like being right sometimes. And, as we talked about yesterday, didn't look good. It's a very bearish setup. In fact, as I stated yesterday, if I were trading Bitcoin, I would have been short. And that would have worked out pretty well. I don't short Bitcoin. I think that's crazy. I don't trade Bitcoin either. I accumulate it. That's why I refer to myself as Diamond Hands Derek, because I don't sell Bitcoin. Just don't sell it. For me, it's a long-term investment. It's one of the best long-term investments out there. It has been for the last decade anyway. The numbers prove that. Let's take a live look at what's going on here. And unfortunately, I don't think the pain is over yet. This is the hourly. I like to work off the hourly to get a feel for the market. I'm not a technical, analysis expert. Okay, I want to make that very clear. None of this is financial advice, but I'm just telling you what I'm doing. You can do what you want. I'm accumulating Bitcoin, so price drops for me are exciting. There's a certain number of Bitcoins I want to have, and there's no way for me to get that many if prices stayed where they were. So for me, long term, thinking, okay, I believe Bitcoin will be worth $1 million one day. I want to have as many Bitcoins as I can. And so these price tips are great. In fact, I just bought more before I came on this live. Wanted to get in there and get it quick while we're in the 40s. So we're in the 40s now, got as low as 47,475 here. You can see a lot of the stuff that we have here. Here's the bigger downtrend that we're going to face one day. That's going to come into play at some point. This guy will right here. We'll see when we get to that, what it's going to look like. Here's another downtrend, which almost has the same trajectory. Look how almost parallel those are, which is interesting. There's another one that happened here that got really violent and really vertical. You see that one right there? I didn't draw it, but here I can. Let's do it. And we broke that. So this is actually the most recent trend line. Look at that. Like that's the most recent trend line. So that was pretty violent, right? That's pretty violent. That's a hard sell-off. And we know Bitcoin is capable of these types of moves because it moves high so quickly that it can also move down quickly. And yesterday when we were looking at this, it was just, it was bad. We have all these things overhead. And I remember, my most positive thought on it, we were right in here, was, well, if we can, if we can bust through here somehow, if we can get on the other side of these moving averages, then all of a sudden it changes because we can pop up here and then come back, to the 100-day moving average and then go higher. But there's just too much stress here, too many sellers, not enough buyers. That's what's really going on. And so we touched that, 50-day moving average for the third time. And then after that, it was just all downhill. It was a hard sell-off. And this right here was just really ugly. I knew again here, this was more bearish confirmation. And so, we had a bearish move. And now Bitcoin's under $50,000, which is still a great, achievement for Bitcoin to be at $50,000, but also far undervalued for what Bitcoin is, what's actually happening out there. A couple things that came to mind that I want to mention. Number one, remember when Jim Cramer said he sold half of his Bitcoin just a few days before it crashed, before it flash crashed? That's more confirmation in my mind that there's the who's who on Wall Street knew this was coming. They knew that, and this is part of the planned attack. I'm telling you, it's a planned, systematic attempt to lower the price of Bitcoin so that Wall Street and the Wall Street clients can get in. And this is how one of those attacks would happen. It would be coordinated. They'd say, okay, hey, government is going to mention this, and we're going to leak something. That's usually more powerful. If Biden had come out and stood at the podium and said, we're going to look into cryptocurrency, that would be one thing. But for it to leak like it's some sort of secret, that makes people think that they need to act quickly, like they know something that you don't. If it's announced to the public, maybe you see the same thing. Maybe the same action happens, but they leak stuff like that, leak it on purpose. We don't even have confirmation from the Biden administration that they are looking into cryptocurrency, but we do have these tax plans, and this is a problem. This spooks all markets. The only market that this doesn't spook is the bond market. Bond market doing pretty well. Actually, today it's not as great, but has done well the last few days. And when bonds started going up while the stock market was still doing well, I knew something was coming because the bond guys always know. They always know before everybody else does. And so with that being the case, I knew something was coming. So we get this tax plan, we get this long-term capital gains tax, which is just for people who make over $1 million a year. Not who have over $1 million, but who make over $1 million a year. So keep that in mind. Who does that really apply to? It's not as many people, it's not as many of us as it may sound like. But that said, this is never good for investment markets. It's never good for stock markets, crypto markets. Doesn't really matter. There's also a lot of people talking about, and this is hilarious to me. I love this photo for what's going on right now, because it really does illustrate, the house is on fire and we're just sitting here having a cup of coffee. This is what Bitcoin bulls do. This is what diamond hands do. You see the fire, but it's all good. There may be a fire going on, but you have a house that's made of something that's fire resistant. Let's call it hemp, whatever. So this is what's going on. There are a lot of analysts who are saying, okay, this is perfectly fine. This fits into the long-term plan model. The stock to flow shows it working out. It's okay. We've seen other dips. I do want to show you one thing here. Goodness gracious, Ecamm, come on. Wow. All right. Sorry, guys. Ecamm's glitching. Always have some sort of technological glitch going on. Always. Okay. So this just shows you in 2017, which everyone's calling like the previous bull market. I think the entire existence of Bitcoin has been one big bull market. But for people who are talking about different individual moves, you can see here kind of how the 2017 bull market was broken down into 38% loss followed by 138% move higher. Another 38% loss followed by 106% move higher. 33% loss, 211% move higher. 38% down, 164% move higher, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people have extrapolated this out and said, hey, if this trend continues, we're definitely hitting 250, 300,000 by the end of the year. I don't know. I think it's different. I think this time around things are different because, again, we have Wall Street coming into the mix. And with Wall Street coming into the mix, it's just going to change things a little bit. It's going to change things a little bit about how everything works. Will change, but that doesn't mean that it's screwed. It just means that it may not be the same. It just may not be the same as we've seen before. So anyhow, this downtrend has been broken, which is great. I am going to say that we're still going to face headwinds from that big downtrend up there in the yellow. And eventually this one also is going to be involved in what's going on. So we have so many headwinds here to go higher, team. I just don't, this isn't a good setup for the bulls. And although I think it's a great time to buy and layer in, like if you haven't bought a lot of crypto or you haven't bought any Bitcoin, maybe you've been trying to mess around with altcoins, you stayed away from Bitcoin or whatever, this is a great time, in my opinion, to start putting some on. Remember, buy it in small increments over long periods of time, whether you set up auto purchases on Coinbase or whether you do it yourself. Buy 0.01 Bitcoin at a time, whatever, 0.001 Bitcoin at a time, whatever it is that fits your budget. But just buy a little bit at a time, and when it dips like this, maybe double that amount that you normally would buy. Instead of buying 0.01, buy 0.02. And that's how you can kind of adjust for it and accumulate more and more efficiently. But yeah, we've got we've got headwinds here, big time. Now we're going to face the 25-day moving average if we can get that high. There's more support down in 43 or 45,000. If we just look at the daily here, you see where we're getting support right now. It's really, it's just really, really on thin ice, team. I'm shooting you straight here. We're on thin ice. Like, we could easily lose another 5,000 Bitcoin today. Before we get down to some of those really key support areas between 43 and 45,000. But you can see right here, it's the 100-day moving average that gave us the support, but we pierced it. It was pierced significantly. I mean, that's at 49.3, almost $2,000 below the 100-day moving average. Now, The bulls stepped in and have bought that up. But again, lots of headwinds coming here. Lots of stuff above where we are right now. And I don't know where we're going to get a bullish sentiment or bullish news. Anything that could be more bullish than what's already happening. I mean, what's already happening with adoption, acceptance, not just from a Wall Street perspective, but just in general. Acceptance, adoption, increasing every day. Tons of Bitcoin, tens of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin goes to cold storage every day. I mean, the supply shock alone should be able to prevent this. So, I don't know what the cause is here. All I know is now that we're on the other side of these moving averages, and now that we have gotten out of what was a bullish formation, or technically now in a bearish formation. Yeah, for traders, this is tough. You never want to really be short Bitcoin because it's so violent to the upside. But, right here, a lot of people are going to be short, and a lot of people are probably going to be right. I do think we can come up here, and get back to 50. 50 is going to be, was our friend. Now it's going to be our enemy for the longs. But I do think we'll probably see a retrace up somewhere, in that vicinity before we maybe hit this moving average and come back down. But it just doesn't look great. It doesn't look great in the short run, which means, plan accordingly. For me, Bitcoin is the ultimate investment, ultimate long-term investment. I'm investing for my kids. I want to give my kids my Bitcoin. I don't want to ever sell them, ever. And so for me, prices going down is opportunity to accumulate more for the same amount of money. And so it's great. But for some people, especially if you're on leverage, we've said many times, don't do that. It's just a recipe for disaster. If you're trading anything, you're probably going to lose, especially Bitcoin. Bitcoin's probably one of the hardest things to trade. And like with the trade, what is the trading setup right now? Well, it kind of looks like, we got some bullish wicks here. We got a nice green candle. This is one of those ones where you could take a long and you could ride it up to, somewhere just beneath that moving average and probably make some money. But we'll see. We will see what happens today. It would be nice to not get any more bad news, but I have a feeling that we're going to see it, and it very well may happen this weekend again. So just be prepared for that. This is a great time also to put in some snipe buy orders. So you have to zoom out pretty far to figure out, like, okay, when have we been down this far? When was the last time we were at these levels? You have to go pretty far back. And not that that's a bad thing by any means, but you can see here this former support is now going to become resistance for us, and that's a pretty macro scenario right there. I mean, that's just a lot of headwind to get through, team. Just a lot. So it doesn't look good again today, unfortunately. And I do believe if we're not going to see another flash crash this weekend, which it probably will, there will be an attack of some sort on Bitcoin this weekend, because it's too easy. Right here with all the bearish, the bearish chart formations, the bearish sentiment, they'll come in again on the weekend, late in the evening on a Saturday like they did last time or whatever it is, and they'll be able to knock this thing down. I mean, yeah, a big seller could come in here and really, really knock this market down right now. So it's vulnerable. Bitcoin is vulnerable for a lot more downside. So put in those snipe buy orders. This is where you can go in and however much your normal purchase amount is. Let's say it's 0.01 Bitcoin. Go in and put in an order at 48,000. Here we're at 49, and we're at 49,700 right now. Put one in at 48,000. Put one in at 47, 46, 45. If you want to skip every other, if you don't have enough, you think it's going to go out, skip it. Put 48, 46, 44. Just put those orders in. Walk away, and just hope that you get filled. I feel like that's the best way to deal with downside and bearish sentiment and bearish action in the market for Bitcoin is to just go ahead and use it to your advantage. Set those buy orders in. Now you're actually hoping it dips. You're hoping you get filled. You're hoping you get that bargain that you're fishing for. And that can kind of help change the mindset of, oh man, should I go ahead and sell now? Is it going to go to 40? Is it going to go to 30 again? Are we going to be in the 20s for Bitcoin? I sure hope so. But, that's me. I mean, I sure hope so, because I believe I know where this is headed long term. And I don't think that whatever bearish action we see is going to extend beyond, probably even the summer, but much less the year. I think at the end of the year in 2021, we will look at where Bitcoin is and go, wow, what an opportunity this year provided. That's my guess. And your guess is as good as mine, but that's what I think is going to happen. All right. Was there anything else to share? I think that's it for now. Just be prepared. Be prepared to hodl. Prepare your diamond hands. You're going to need them. There's stuff coming here. And be prepared. This is great. I want to read some comments here. What's up, Carmen? My notifications finally worked. Let's do this, diamond hands. That's terrific. Higher living, what's up? Yeah, I agree. It's about dollar cost averaging. You buying in. You got to figure out what that number is for you. And if it's, like I said, if it's 0.01 Bitcoin, if it's 0.001 Bitcoin, doesn't matter. Figure out what your number is and make your constant purchases. Just make those purchases. Then you don't have to worry about trying to time anything. And you don't have to worry about these downside fluctuations in the market. You welcome them. And then you can even maybe double down a little bit when you see that happen. So totally agree. Yeah. Buy the dip. Exactly. Buy the dip. This is, if you're long-term bull, if you're bullish about Bitcoin, let's put it this way. If you were bullish about Bitcoin on Friday of last week and you're not on Friday of this week, there's the door. Get the hell out of here. It's for you. You don't deserve Bitcoin. You're like you're like in a bad relationship with Bitcoin, and the bad part of it is you. Like the bottom line is, we say diamond hands for a reason. Diamond hands means I don't let Wall Street tell me what to do. That's really what it means. And this is such a good philosophy in investing long term anyway. This is how most people lose money. Realize that, right? Like, I can even look back at stocks that I bought many, many years ago, look at them today and go, man, all I had to do is hold. Why did I ever sell? Like, I bought Facebook at $20 and sold it at 30. Thought I was a genius. Didn't have diamond hands. Made some money, but could have made a fortune. Yeah. Well, hey, here's the thing about the altcoins, and I'll just address this really quick. I don't know too much about the altcoins. I own a few of them. I own Ripple, XRP. I own Cardano, ADA, and obviously Ethereum as well. I think everyone should own some Ethereum. It's just one of those things that Ethereum is going to go higher. Like, you know that Ethereum's going to go higher, and Ethereum's doing well in this market. I don't track Ethereum. I feel like if you're going to track a market, the reason why I track Bitcoin is because I believe it's the best investment. So if you believe something is the best investment, and you can really only track one security, one coin, and really know the heartbeat. So a lot of what I'm telling you here isn't on technical analysis. I can just feel the heartbeat of the way that Bitcoin trades. And if you watch something trading, that's the only thing you watch, you'll get to notice that heartbeat. And it's not a tendency thing. It's a heartbeat thing. Like, I can tell you right now, it's super weak. Like, right now, Bitcoin, it's not heavy, but it's super weak. One of the things I've always liked about Bitcoin is that it's very light. It's almost like it's got helium in it. It just wants to go higher. But right now, it doesn't have that. Right now, it's like a helium balloon, that you've had in the house for a couple of weeks, and it's still floating, but it's not going to the ceiling anymore. It's just kind of hovering, creeping everyone out. That's that's kind of how it looks and feels right now. Now, we know when Bitcoin activates, it rips higher. I mean, it can just rip higher. And when hundreds of billions of dollars, new money, comes into Bitcoin, which will happen before the end of the year, you're going to see this huge rips higher. So are those opportunities to sell? No. Remember, diamond hands. We don't sell unless we have to pay the bills. And even then, really think about it, okay? Right now, seeing a little move to the green. Got a couple good candles there, I mean, it doesn't hurt to see that. I got to be honest, I've got some orders in underneath this. I'm kind of hoping to get filled. But again, that's the short-term trade, right? Is like, it looks like, this is probably going to be a magnet to this moving average here. That's $1,000 from here. Probably going to move up to there and then the trend will continue. And that's what this trade looks like. There's also resistance right here. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna come up probably right here, and then so we'll see if my prediction's right. Yeah, it's tough to predict Bitcoin in the morning for how it's going to trade the rest of the day. We've had several days in a row where I've been able to do that amazingly, but overall, right now, Bitcoin is vulnerable. It's vulnerable. It's on thin ice. It's not acting as sturdy as it normally does, and it's totally vulnerable to an attack that will probably happen over the weekend, is my guess. We'll see. We'll see. I think today there will be more buyers than yesterday. As this news, we need this news to just sort of, we need this to get further and further in the rearview mirror. Every time there's, speculation of regulation, but what are they going to do? Seriously, what are they going to regulate? If you think that regulators coming in and saying, hey, you're going to have to pay capital gains tax on your crypto profits, or hey, you're going to have to register your account so we can make sure you're paying your taxes. If you think that's not coming, then you're crazy. It's definitely coming. That is 100% going to happen. So, expect that. And remember, it's a good thing. We can't have Wall Street selling Bitcoin to the rest of the world for us proper hodlers with diamond hands so that we can get rich and make a fortune. We can't have Wall Street do all that if we don't have the regulatory stuff in place. So that's got to happen. So you should be rooting for that, not scared by that. And if other people, if paper-handed pansies aren't, and they're selling their Bitcoin, buy it from them. Market value. And you will be happy in the long run that you did just that. So let's hope for the best here. Getting a nice little green candle coming. It's it never hurts to see a good green candle, and to see some hope there. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of that today. I hope I'm wrong. Good luck out there, team. Be prepared for what's happening. Don't let it scare you long term. Make some smart moves, okay? But buy in. Continue to incrementally buy in as you see this dip. And don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if we end up in the 30s in the near future. This could happen next week, okay? There's a lot of support in the 40s. I know a lot of people are talking about that. But if this thing is what I think it is, and it is a coordinated effort by Wall Street to get this price as low as possible, the 30s are going to come into play soon. And I'll talk about that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, we're hoping we can stay in the 40s through the weekend. That's what we're hoping. And we need to have buy orders in underneath so that you can go ahead and take advantage. Hodl, my friend. Yes. Yeah, I've looked into VeChain. I just don't have, for me, I struggle with not selling my Ripple, Cardano, and Ethereum to buy Bitcoin every day because I know Bitcoin is superior to all these as far as an investment is concerned. So, it's hard for me to, sorry, I should put that comment up. It's hard for me to get excited about, other cryptos, even though there's cool stuff going on with some of these and there's really, really good opportunities and some of them are going to be great investments. In fact, they all probably will be. Except like Dogecoin and absolute jokes like that. I can't believe how many people are posting about this. It's so sad. It's things like Dogecoin. They're going to cause regulators to crimp even tighter on the industry, or as tight as they can. It's going to give them an excuse to do so. Oh, look at how many people were defrauded by this crap. And that's the kind of thing that's not good. But again, if stuff like that ever lands on Bitcoin and creates heaviness and lower prices, it's an opportunity. Pull the trigger. Thank the good Lord that you got an opportunity to buy Bitcoin for less than what it is really worth. Guys, have a great day. I'll see you soon.